Guys, my name's Turtle,
I'm Swoggles.
And I'm trash.
and we're doing our 2018 NALCS Power Rankings. So essentially what we're doing is we'll be dragging in each of our Power Rankings at the same time, and we're going to be going last for first, and we'll be explaining why we chose that and why we think that team will be that place. So yeah, I guess, do you guys ready up?
Do you want to go 10th place?
10th place? Alright, let me get mine. Just try to rough guesstimate. Wait,
Yep.
I'll start on. Okay. Alright. Everyone ready?
Yep.
3,
Yes.
2, 1. Alrighty. I guess Trash,
Okay.
you explain yourself first.
Okay, so basically, I think that Golden Guardians is going to finish last because on paper, the weakest compared to others. If you look at their top lane, he was a solid piece on Team Liquid. If you compare him to other top laners like Huni, Someday, and all that, I don't think he's going to be able to really last that long. Contracts. Being on C9, he had good solo lanes to gank. On Golden Guardians, he has low and high, a huge downgrade from Impact to Jensen team. I don't know how that's going to really work for him, especially as still such a young player learning. And then you have High in the mid lane, who's the shot caller. Mechanically, from before, he's gone down. And compared to the other mid laners, going to be doing too well. And he's going to be down in lane a lot. And he's going to need a lot of help from contracts. Question mark. You have definitely an unproven rookie yet, and Matt. He's below tier in support. He's been pretty Team Liquid, and their weakest link. Maybe a change of scenery was all he needed, and definitely they're going to rely on him to carry all their games. He's going to have to be their star. He's going to have to step up every game. And as a rookie, I feel like that's too much pressure on him to try and do. So I feel like they're going to finish in last. Possibly surprise us and maybe. But as of right now, on paper, they don't look like close to playoff team.
Okay. So generally, I do agree with those points, which is why I don't have them making playoffs. But when you look at players like Zig, he's pretty much a direct down from Lorlo. And then you look at Acadian, it's pretty much the same with contracts. Power of Evil, he might have the mechanics to beat High, but he doesn't really have that like leadership that High does. He doesn't take charges often, and he's not really the best mid laner either. Arrow really needs a good laning phase support to get him out into the mid game for him to be a really good player. And I don't think Lemonation really brings that to the team at all. He's just kind of more of a coach, essentially.
Yeah. I kind of put Optic the same way. I feel like Optic has strong pieces. Like, I think Acadian's strong. He's definitely worse than Contracts, but like, he's a strong jungler. I feel like PoE is good mechanically, but again, he doesn't have like the high factor of bringing in like that big mastermind that has led C9 multiple times into worlds and like championships, and I mean, even led a FlyQuest roster into 4th place in their first split in the LCS when everyone thought there was gonna be 10th. I think Arrow's definitely a big question mark. I think if Arrow steps back up to his spring 2017 form, I could see Optic doing better. But I feel like just him at his level, how he was last split, being rough and like he's always been a good team fighting AD carry, but I feel like him in laning phase is just awful. I mean, putting a player like Lemon, who isn't just the strongest support in general, with him, I feel like they're gonna get smashed pretty much every laning phase. Unless the enemy team really messes up, I don't see them doing well at all. So yeah, I definitely think GGS shouldn't be 10th just for the sheer fact that like you have the idea of Lorlo was always a strong top laner. Lorlo was the strongest whenever he had Dardoch, a really aggressive, strong jungler. And I feel like Contracts is very similar to that. So I feel like Lorlo is definitely going to do better than he did on Liquid this past year. I think Contract's a good jungler. I think High, although he may not be mechanical, he's probably like the worst mechanical mid laner in the LCS right now. I feel like he's not. I feel like just the intangibles that he brings and like his in-game knowledge is huge. Obviously, Deathly's a big question mark because he's a rookie, but I feel like Deathly's good, but who knows? And then Matt definitely is a giant question mark. He's probably is seen as their weakest link. I just don't feel
I
like.
feel like Golden Guardians is such a young team with these players, and to have local Doko lead this team, it's quite a concern because you saw him on Team Liquid, where you had players such as Matt, Lorlo, and Dardoch, where things got out of control pretty quickly, and the whole team environment basically went to shit, basically. Here, he's in charge of a whole team full of young, inexperienced players. And for him to try and lead this team, and let's say they start losing, he's not exactly the best coach to have to try and regain their confidence and all of that. So I feel
Yeah,
like that also plays a huge factor. And I feel like while Optic might be back to spring split form, I feel like Optic have a chance to avoid the bottom and maybe make a push to 7th.
I don't know, like your local point, pretty true. But then when you look at it, Optic has a French caster as a coach, and I think that he's not a very known quantity as a coach. And at least Loco Doco has the experience of making a significant amount of finals, um,
yeah,
even if he's not as mature.
yeah. I mean, if
I
you
think
look at,
he has the experience of doing it
yeah,
over and over again.
yeah. I mean, especially comparing coaches. I mean, Zabutin, the only thing he's done before this is, to my extent, to my knowledge, I don't really haven't looked far into him, but like I know he was a French caster, but like if you look he did French casting and that's it. Now he's a head coach of an NALCS team. But if you look at Loco, you don't like obviously yeah he could struggle coaching a bottom of the pack team and trying to make them better, but like if you look, he played professionally himself in Korea. He was one of the best AD carries when he played. And I mean, he does have just experience coaching that Liquid team when they were really good and they almost made Worlds and TSM. So it's definitely like I feel like obviously all pretty much none of these 10 players are like crazy, I would say, like insane. But I'd definitely say like it's definitely probably a race for the bottom of the pack, but I wouldn't put necessarily GGS going bottom. So, yeah.
I feel like it really depends on how the players play. If they're able to regain their forms on how they played previously, then maybe the standings might change. But as of right now, from looking at the past year,
Mm,
that's just how I feel like the players stack up.
yeah.
That's
Underperformed, I
fair.
feel like.
Yeah, that's correct. I'd agree with that 100%. So, I mean, alright.
Especially if you get like two players from that Liquid team that consistently all of last year failed to get over relegation, it's kind of a concern. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yes. I think that's it for points. I think
Yeah.
the next two are kind of be repeating ourselves. So, I guess Go ahead and
And
ready
to
it.
be fair though, I don't think any of these teams are like completely dog shit either. I
Nah,
think a lot of them have the potential to, especially in summer, come back and hit
this is
way
the
stronger.
this is the strongest NALCS has ever had. Because I mean, every year NALCS has always had that teams where you go, oh, that team's not gonna be good. I mean, like if you look, there's always like one team that gets in that you go, oh, this team's not gonna last a year. If barely a split. Like
But it's
it,
like if you look at the Optic Gaming roster and then you take it back to last split, I
they'd
think
be a top
they'd be,
5 team
well, I'd give
easily,
them like
or not a
seventh
top 5,
ish.
but
They
like
wouldn't be top 5, but I feel like they would be at least maybe top 7.
definitely,
They'd do pretty alright.
yeah. All right, so I guess let's move on to number 9 for everyone.
Alright.
Just
3.
2, 1.
Alright. This is pretty
We're kind of repeating.
self-explanatory for
Yeah, I
Golden
guess
Guardians. Yeah.
GGS is similar to what we were just talking about. I guess I'll just say why I put GGS ninth. I think they're definitely better, although they may not have the best mechanical players on their team. I just feel like just having high is literally like a buff in its own, like just
And
boosting a
when
team.
you look at like Matt, I definitely would say a lot of the lack of success on TL can be attributed to the fact that he was really low on motivation the entire time.
Yeah, I
And
mean
I
he was
think that out of that environment, he's going
definitely.
to be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean he's laning with an ex-world champion, so and Matt seems like kind of a passive guy. So like looking at him, obviously it's probably more of a he didn't want to laning with like such a big personality and voice as Piglet, someone that literally won worlds. Like I think you had just have added pressure. I think playing with a rookie might help because I feel like definitely to an extent will look up to Matt because Matt, I mean, Matt may not have the most impressive career, but I mean he still was on that Liquid team that almost made worlds in 2016, and on I don't even remember what to say, but he was like having Matt. He's been there for 2 years. He almost made worlds with Liquid in 2016. I mean, he will be the veteran out of him and Deftly, so I feel like to an extent Deftly will look up to him to where Matt was probably more looking up to Piglet his entire time playing with him.
I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like if definitely to look up to anybody, it's high.
Well,
Well, yeah.
definitely. But I
It's
mean,
going to
like,
have to be high.
I'm saying he's gonna look up to Matt in the way of laning bot. He has to look up to him as like the person to help him lead lane.
Just curious to see if Matt's going to be able to regain his confidence. That's what I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
And if Loco's actually going to be able to step up,
Well, I mean, Matt
become
Lo-
confident again.
Loco's taught or coached Matt and
Well,
Lorlo before, so he knows how those two like to play. If he can play contracts all around Lorlo, I think it'll be pretty good. Alright,
yeah. And
so I
then
guess
FlyQuest, generally, I'd say Onda and Stunt are some pretty unknown quantities, even though Stunt's played some LCS games and he looked pretty alright.
I personally feel like this FlyQuest team potential to do really well. You
yeah,
Yeah,
have a
definitely.
team full of question marks and a team of rookies that are kind of improving. Jungle and he's praised and he's considered to be really good, but none of us has actually seen him play in the LCS or in Challenger.
hmm
I know that for a fact that apparently he was supposed to be the jungler for FlyQuest last year. Issues he wasn't able to. So to put him in the starting spot, who on his limited time on P1 seemed really good.
yeah,
Rookies with really not that many veterans to guide them. main veteran is Wild Turtle, and
I mean,
there's also
Flames.
Fly. I mean, there's also Flame, but it's a new team where he has to learn even more English,
Yeah.
and he has to learn how to communicate with them. So communication is still gonna be an issue. Fly.
And I think generally, right, if you take the mid and jungle of their academy team and just move them up, I actually think they have a lot better chance of even making playoffs.
Yeah, because their communication would be better, slightly, especially in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is import loads.
Question's gonna
I
be
mean,
on
if Fly is off,
on Fly
Oh,
though.
wait.
Yeah,
Never mind.
because Keen is
Oh, yeah, I forgot Keen's
NA
NA.
native.
Yeah. Definitely. I feel like Keen's still not a good. I mean, we could all be surprised.
Oh,
Fly could come in, and he could be crazy.
because I mean Fly could be really good. I mean he was the ex mid lane of the almost KT Worlds team.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
that's
been
true.
out of the LCS and LCK for a whole year, so
Mhm.
much that took a toll on him.
I think Fly's definitely a big question mark. Fly is the question mark of Fly Quest. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
I'd
let's.
say in meme points they get that though.
Yeah.
Also the question of the shot caller of this team. Like who do you look to shot call? Is that you
Yeah, I
have
think
two
that is
rookies
gonna be a big problem.
who
Yeah,
are still learning English with communication issues. If you look to Wild Turtle to shot call, he's the ADC. He's gonna be too busy focusing on staying alive, dealing damage, and not worrying about shot calling.
but you also wouldn't trust two rookies with shot calling in general.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, Flame, his English isn't the best, and like the most, the person that speaks the best English and is the biggest vet or like the longest time player on this team is Wild Turtle, but ADC isn't really a role like where
Shot
it's
call.
as strong on as to call shot call on. I mean, Wild Turtle or not Wild Turtle, Doublelift is the only AD carry to
So
really
I feel
ever.
like if Flame is able to step up and take the leadership role, this team could definitely fight for a playoff spot
Yeah.
and surprise a lot of people. But right now, as it looks like calling is still kind of unclear of who's going to be shot calling and leading this group.
Mhm.
They have a few question marks, which puts them near the bottom for right
Yeah.
now. But I hope that they surprise us though.
I think again, I mean, breaking into the just towards the playoff spot is just the more you think about it, the more you say like, oh, if this team does this or like this happens with this team, you're gonna get a playoff team. Like I mean, all FlyQuest needs is Flame to step up or like someone like that to step
We
up
need is
for it
that
really to be.
one solid shot caller, which
Yeah.
is why I feel like if they kept high, then maybe this team could be in a playoff spot because his
Yeah.
leadership could is able to change the whole team. If Flame or maybe even Anda is able to step up in that leadership role, they're definitely going to do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess let's go ahead.
Do you want to just do the next ones?
Yeah, I
And
think.
then because we've already talked about these three teams, just keep going.
Yeah, I think just go ahead and drag in your third because I'm pretty sure it's just bringing in whatever's left.
Yeah, they're the same bottom three.
Yeah. So yes, I think this is where we all start kind of veering off from it. Maybe.
This is where I start veering off, and then you
I think
guys
this is
keep
the
the same pretty
biggest.
much.
This is the biggest question mark. Probably. I guess.
So
Oh,
are we
Do you
doing
want
our
to do the
seven?
next one?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
because more or less it's exact same points.
Um,
You guys ready?
yeah, I'm ready. 3.
2, 1.
All right.
Okay. So looks
Yeah,
like
I
I
guess
need to
you
do some
explain.
explaining, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know I might be underrating this team, but you take Envious, which is a relegation level team in spring, sixth place in summer.
Yes.
Then you give them a way better mid laner and a way better, not a way better, like a pretty much even top laner
No, I'd
that
say
doesn't take as many resources,
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and then you put it in a more competitive split. Like I'd say, this is Envy's playoff team, but better,
Hmm.
but it's also a more competitive split where you have teams that are I would say clearly above Clutch.
Yeah.
Where I'm not saying they couldn't easily make like fourth place in playoffs. I just see a lot of other teams being a like better than them essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think my biggest problem with that is just the idea that, as you said, it's just envious with I would say, in not just like, not necessarily skill level, but like just in general. I think top's probably a question mark on whether it's better than Seraph, but just the fact that
I
it
feel
takes,
like it's definitely going to be better than
it's gonna be
Sarah.
better just by the sheer fact he may not be mechanically better, but I think he'll have a better champ. Solo will probably have a better champ pool, and he'll
Asian.
probably have better communication, yeah, and just the idea that he isn't gonna be as resource heavy as Seraph
And he's
will.
not an asshole, which helps.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think Seraph should have been out of LCS last split or last year, but
Definitely.
I mean, if you look, like, I think Clutch is definitely a really good team. I
Oh
think,
yeah,
I mean, they have the best jungler in NA.
I
One
just
of the best.
well, they also had the best jungler when they were a relegation team, so
Yes, but if you think about it, during that they had Seraph in top and Ninja in mid. And during the summer split, that one little change in the mid lane from relegation all the way into the playoffs.
yeah, and they
While
got sixth
Niski's really
place.
good, Niski's really good, but it'll push them even
Like I'm not saying
better.
they didn't upgrade and they're a better team. I'm just saying I'm having a bit of trouble putting them
Yep,
over any of the other teams essentially.
I respect that.
Like I
I
think they could potentially have a higher ceiling, but
I think
think
they
it's going
yeah,
to depend
definitely,
on the bot lane.
definitely. I think
they're
Hawkwood.
they're
I
like
will,
really consistent, but I wouldn't say they're
I'll,
explosive in any way.
I'll give it to you putting them at the seventh place. Just the idea that we, the biggest question mark is just, well, the two biggest question marks are how's Solo gonna do against probably one of the best top lane pools in the world, having Hooney, Impact someday, Darshan, Flame, Hauntzer, like literally those six players could beat each other at any point and be the best in a mid laner or in a top laner. But I think another question is just what Apollo are we gonna see this year?
Yeah,
Because I mean, some splits
What
he's
people are
some
forgetting is that underrated. People are underrating him a lot,
who.
calling him like some people that call him like really bad and call him and Hako the weakest link in part of Clutch Gaming right now.
Hmm.
And to be fair, because if you look back on their split with Envy, they were winning. And if you look how Paulo's number, he was almost top 5 in every category.
Yeah.
but also when you look at it, he's not really. You can't really carry through Apollo. You can
Yeah.
just kind of like have a solid 80 carry.
Apollo's
I
And
think
when you
definitely
he's
look at
like,
Clutch,
important.
really your only two options are to carry through Lyra or Forbidden.
yeah, definitely.
Well,
I mean,
I
I'm
feel
not
like
saying
having
good.
that solid, consistent 80 carry, even though he might not hard carry games, at least knowing that you have an 80 carry that can
He'll do his
deal
part.
damage in fights
Yeah,
and
definitely.
stable, that definitely helps the team and makes them more confident in their bot lane, knowing that your jungle doesn't have to be heavy, and he doesn't have to focus bot lane to get them ahead every single game.
Yeah.
Because even in losing matchups, they were able to either pull even or only be slightly losing the lane, which I feel like is a huge plus. If you look at some of the other bot lanes, phase, I feel like Apollo and Hakuo can take advantage of that and maybe snowball the game potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, I feel like Hako is 100% the most underrated. Like, I mean, it's more like Reddit wise, he's the most underrated, but
Yeah.
like people that really understand the game know. Like, Haku's a crazy support. He's like
Like Hako,
super.
at least top 5
He's
all the time.
worse, but he reminds me more of a smoothie type support. To where like he may not be the most flashy, like Ole, or like one of
Afterward, smoothie.
yeah, he may not be like a crazy shot caller like Afromo. He may not be the most flashy player like Ole, but like he's just a crazy solid, consistent support. I mean like it made I feel like picking up Apollo or not Apollo, picking up Hakuo is just a great pickup for pretty much any team that
I feel
needs
like
just
Yeah.
a
adding
consistent support.
Apollo last split for Envy was really like the clicking point where those two kind of just clicked together almost instantly.
Yeah, I think they work really well. Well, I mean, they both kind of serve like the same role almost in North America, to where like they're both just consistent players. I wouldn't necessarily call them top 5 bot lane. Maybe top 5
It
bot lane in
depends.
NA.
It's
Definitely,
definitely debatable.
it's debatable. Put them top 5, but I feel like you're just really good. All right, I guess we should probably
A
talk.
solid option.
Yeah, what about 100 Thieves though?
100
Because I
Thieves.
definitely have them higher
I'll,
than
I'll
either of you guys.
I'll put them. I'll explain my point. I put 100 Thieves.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, the idea of putting them out of playoffs when they have a player like Someday is crazy.
Yeah.
But like, definitely if you think about it, Someday is the best part of that team. Like,
I mean,
hands down. I think Afro
yeah.
from a shot caller perspective is really good, but like, Someday is the shining star of that team. Although
The
Afro
only
may be like the probably the quote unquote star of the team, like from a publicity like side of a oh this is the first team Afro's competed on that's not CLG. Similar to like when Double Lift left CLG
Yeah.
also, or like something like that. But I feel like the idea, I think Medios, I'd put them higher if I knew Medios was gonna come back and be his old self, being a
Yeah, that's
crazy
definitely fair.
jungler. But I just feel like Medios, he literally quit League for like consistently quit playing League for like a good year at least to play WoW, and that's why he was out of the scene. I mean, yes, he looked crazy when he came back and played for P1, but like I just feel like he's definitely the biggest question mark. And I think Ryu, motivation wise, he did have problems with that in the last split. So I guess it's really just we need to see if he will come back and be the old Ryu that was in Korea playing for KT.
Okay.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll save my major defenses
yeah,
for
yeah.
when I put down 100 Thieves, but
And I mean, I think
the only
Cody.
reason
Good.
I have Anjali solo is because of the question marks. Like Meteos, while he did have a pretty good start on P1, when he started to play options, he started to fall off again. Off pretty well, fell off,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
replaced, I believe, for a game or so. And another question is Ryu. Is he really motivated to play?
Yeah.
He took a break, I believe, because of burnout
Yeah. Which I mean, he had been
and
playing
something.
consistently since.
But the thing is he still motivated? Is he still willing to put all that time and effort into practicing?
Yeah.
See, I don't think I
Um,
genuinely I don't think he would have joined another org if he didn't plan on competing.
Yeah,
And I think
definitely.
that like it's same with Meteos. I think he would have just kept streaming if he didn't intend to actually give it his all. And
Media.
seeing like with Nadeshot especially, under Nadeshot at least, I think a lot of them are going to be a lot more motivated.
Oh yeah.
Just seeing, like watching Nadeshot's vlogs, watching the heist video that came up for 100 Thieves, it definitely seems like they're gonna, at
It's
least they
gonna
have the motivation there.
Nate Shot is a
it's
passionate
gonna depend.
person. Good.
It depends on if Prolly's able to spark the old Ryu, the H2K Ryu.
Yeah.
Feel like that's what's going to happen. If Prolly's able to reignite him, then definitely these can go farther. And another question mark I have is, how's Afro going to play?
Yeah.
The Afro
Yep.
of the summer
Yeah.
split.
That's definitely. I mean, Afro
That's when he
might
got
have.
caught out.
Afro could definitely have like that. Oh, fresh start, fresh team. He's never played with any of these people.
I think with another rookie AD carry, he can make that ADC Cody Sun play like a top AD carry in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if you look at Afro when he was first playing with Stixa, obviously Cody's played an entire year now, but like
Yeah, but like
he's a
really
rookie.
though,
Like he played with a rookie support too. So like Afro, one of the most seasoned veterans in this league, playing with a younger player like Cody Sun, I think that's definitely a question. I mean, you get to a point to where I think definitely I could pretty much see if everything lines up any of these teams making playoffs. So like
yeah,
I think no matter what you say, is there gonna be a question mark? And like I could 100% see 100 Thieves making playoffs. My sixth place team, my seventh place team, I've constantly flipped back and forth.
like you could go in my standings and they'd be pretty much consistently different from when I put them
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
a week ago.
I've changed mine constantly.
Like the only consistent I think is Optic Bot, but
Yeah.
even I think I put
Um.
Fly there before.
Yeah, I had GGS there at one point. I mean, it's definitely just the more you read and stuff. So I guess. Trash, do you have anything else to say about it?
no,
Alright, I guess let's do it.
Oh,
Sixth place,
next
getting into playoffs. Ready?
we going?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I
Alright,
know,
we've already talked about
I,
clutch, so just go ahead
yeah,
on your
I
C9.
pretty much completely know that I'm underrating C9 here because I know that if Licorice doesn't work out, they're just gonna replace him with someone, hopefully. But with Licorice as an unknown quantity, I just don't know how far they'll go. Even if Svenskeren is like, because I think Svenskeren will pop off. He'll be SK Svenskeren again, but I
Yep.
just don't think it's enough with a top laner.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think right now Licorice is bottom four. I just don't. I mean,
Well, I mean, bottom four is pretty much all of the league. Like,
yeah,
because I mean,
it's
again,
it's middle of the pack and bot as
yeah,
well.
bringing in the fact that, I mean, you look at the top lane pool in this league, especially bringing in Hooney, that's getting
Yeah,
out
definitely.
Seraph. I mean, you have someday Hooney, Impact. Like, you don't have to, like, you say for 5 names, and like you could put any of them at the top of the pack.
Yeah,
the thing is that I feel like if you're Licorice, you have less pressure on you though.
Yeah.
Not like the star carry of the team.
No.
While you
well, I
might
mean,
be a rookie, your only job is to protect Sneaky and Jensen. That's like your main goal. And I
but
feel
right.
like
So okay, I'm
unless
I'm I'm gonna let you finish really quick, but I need to. So Licorice is up against Hooney, Impact, Someday, Darshan,
Yeah.
Flame, Hanser. Like in lane, I don't think there's any way that that a rookie could be like normal about the fact that he's facing those like
Yeah. I
no,
mean,
but
those players in
definitely.
lane.
here's the
I
thing though,
don't think I
C9
could see him winning any of those lanes.
he
Well, I
doesn't
see
have to
him
win the
potentially.
lane though. All he has to do is go up
Yeah,
is to exit the lane maybe even or
As long as he,
partially behind.
as
As
long
long
as
as
he
he's
doesn't
able to
int.
yeah, pretty much.
He's fun.
If you look at C9, they're able to produce some really good rookies from like contracts
Yeah, I mean they
from
pulled.
the old Quantic team of Balls,
Yeah,
Meteos, High, Sneaky, Lemon
I mean
to grow these rookies and turn them to stars.
they pulled Jensen out of the middle of nowhere.
Yes. And
And
although he might be against all these good, great top laners,
Yeah,
I mean, he's not a carry meta. You're not
Mhm.
going to expect him to carry the game. Maybe get out even
Yeah,
behind. He's going to still be able to help C9 do pretty well.
yeah,
And especially with the pressure off him, if he's able to just play his game normally,
Mhm.
it's going to be fine.
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I mean, I see Licorice as. I mean, I guess it's kind of fitting since I put your C9 my same level as my Clutch. I feel like they both have similar aspects. They both have an all-star player, Lyra for Clutch, Jensen for C9. Like it's crazy. It's just I think top lane is a big lane
yeah, definitely.
in the LCS. Obviously, mid is the most important role in league right now, and has been for like ever. But I mean, if you look, they they essentially have the same situation where they have rookie top laners. Solo has a bit more experience, but he's never really made his debut in the LCS. He subbed in a couple games, but like hasn't really had his place to like step out and show who he is and like how he plays. And definitely, I feel like the top lane for Clutch and C9 are both the same essentially. Like they're just two unproven people playing against world class top laners.
Yeah.
Again, I hate that make like putting them bottom half technically with the bottom 5 teams makes it look like I'm saying they're gonna be bad, but like
To
they're
No,
be
still
fair though,
gonna
it is a
look
hard
pretty
split.
awesome.
bottom sixth place is still crazy good in this
Yeah,
LCS.
but like also just when you look at the other 4 players, they're all good players. It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I think they'll probably place higher than what I have them,
mhm,
but it's just so hard to place teams in my opinion.
definitely. I mean, that's why it's just a power ranking of
Yeah.
Yeah.
how we think this team's gonna do. What do we think is gonna happen?
Um, the reason why they're above 100 Thieves is because they have a little bit less question marks than 100 Thieves.
Yeah,
I feel like they're consistently performing the LCS. You've seen their bot lane be consistent.
Yeah.
Vin is a top tier mid laner in the West.
Mhm.
If
yeah, I
you take
think
that into
I'm
account and not
definitely
into the top lane, because top lane it's right now, it's still a important role, but not too important.
Yeah.
Lane
yeah,
might
I think
be
I'm
if
definitely like
maybe the rest of their map, their mid and their bot, I feel like that makes up for their inexperienced top laner.
Yeah.
yeah, 100 Thieves is definitely my dark horse team that I think will do better than everyone else is expecting, but
Yeah.
like
I
they
mean,
Hard
could
to
also fall on their face.
it's hard to this LCS season is so hard to rank. Who do we think is gonna be good? Like I can see Clutch getting top four. I could see 100. I could see 100 these possibly making top four. Like
I'm just saying, like when I read that 100 Thieves roster out with Someday, Meteos, Ryu, Aphromu, like it
I
would
know,
feel criminally just I would feel awful to put them lower than
but
that,
I mean,
even
at
if like I don't know.
you have to take it. It almost seems like you're kind of taking in a name value
Yeah,
rather than
well, like
facts and
a
how
bit.
they're playing right
a,
now.
lo-
I'm not
a
gonna
lot of
deny
them, I'm just
someday
looking at
is
like
someday's insane. Ryu, I still think Ryu's probably the most underrated mid laner in this split. Like everyone's saying, oh, Ryu's washed up
yeah,
or whatever. I think Ryu's still solid.
Because I believe because of his motivation, like it off, and like people are wondering if he's gonna be the same Ryu as like the spring split or and the HK Ryu, or is he gonna be like the spring one where he gets tired of playing the game again?
Yeah.
and has to take another half the split off.
Yeah.
But yeah, display is definitely hard to rank because because all of these players could potentially go back to their old form
Yeah.
and perform at a high level.
Mhm.
And I'm definitely like, I'm just looking kind of if Medios is motivated, if Rio's motivated,
I think
which I do think, like, with what I've seen so far of this year, this coming season, I definitely think they are.
yeah. I think the
Um,
biggest. I want to say I don't think the biggest question is they're motivated. I mean, obviously, if you're signing a couple year contract to play on this team and compete at the highest level and show up for this organization, obviously you're motivated. I think the biggest question is skill. Like I think Afro is 100% motivated, but he's been lacking since MSI of 2016. Like someday I'm not some days good. Like
yeah,
some days fine. It's just looking at Ryu. I think Ryu is really good. But like I don't know. It's just a question.
If Medios can play the meta,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is Media's gonna play more than just Zach and Evelyn?
played
Or
his
No, he's gonna
he
he's gonna
played
pull
his
out that Skarner pick.
yeah, dude, I'll wait for it.
on P1. I believe he played the Zac at first,
Yeah.
his comfort picks. It went well, but then when he's tried to play the meta picks,
He just didn't.
it started. That's when it took a turn.
Yeah, definitely.
Able to play back to his strengths, able to go back to normal.
Yep. Alright. Well, I say let's do fifth place.
Uh,
Okay. Just everyone ready?
Yep.
Three,
And
2, 1. Alright.
okay,
Explain the CLG.
yeah. So when you look at it, right, it seems like a pretty good CLG. You know, you got all the players on CLG, but you have Biofrost and you have Rainover. That's different. I don't think, right. I think that Biofrost mechanically is definitely an upgrade over Aphromu,
Yeah.
and not by too much, but like it's definitely there.
At this point in Afro's career.
Yeah. Um, but when you take Stixate and Biofrost, I don't think they're going to be a better bot lane than Stixate and Afro or Double Lift and Biofrost. I'd say generally the bot lane on CLG has gone down, just because I think Afromu definitely enabled a lot of Stixate.
Yeah.
Same with Double Lift and Biofrost.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
Rainover, um, I'd say if you compare it to the most recent, uh, at least CLG jungler that was a success in Smithy, at least.
Dardock was a success.
Well, yeah,
He
they
just
just
didn't
decided to
fit.
sub him in until he left.
He didn't fit within the team
Yeah,
ideals or whatever Tony
whatever
said.
bullshit they said. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like Rainover, his last season did not look too mechanically good. Did not shot call Team Liquid out of anything. Like you could make the excuse that all of the other players on CLG or Team Liquid were lacking,
Yeah.
but like at some point you got to see some kind of success out of Rainover,
Mhm.
and I don't think that he is Immortals Rainover or Fnatic Rainover. I
I
think
will. I want.
we're getting closer to Team Liquid Rainover.
Yeah. I will say one thing you definitely have to think about. So if you look at his Fnatic roster, he was playing with Huni in the top lane, a like insane top
Yeah, yeah,
laner, arguably the best top laner in NA this year. And then he's playing in mid lane with Febevin, a
yep,
crazy mid laner. So if you look at it, he's playing with two solo lanes that can hold their own and can do well. And then you look at Immortals. Again, he's still playing with Huni. Crazy, even better at that point, I would say. Except for the top Lucian, but we don't need to talk about that. And then, I mean, he has Pobelter, who definitely is really strong. in his Immortal season, he was a top mid laner, but he's can hold his own. And then you look at his
Yeah,
TL
definitely.
split. You look at his year at TL. He had Lorlo and Golden Glue.
Yeah.
So he had to babysit essentially 2 lanes. Their bot lane wasn't good. Piglet and Matt weren't good. Or I guess Piglet and Doublelift were alright.
Yeah. You're double lifting Matt.
Doublelift
Rather.
and Matt, yeah.
And then Piglet in the mid lane.
Yeah. So like, I feel like it definitely is a big question mark. What happens with Reignover? I think Reignover at his peak, they're insanely good.
Yeah, if it's
Obviously, if
IMT reign over, they take first place in NALCS, go to MSI and make finals again. But like,
it's IMT Reignover, they do crazy. If it's Fnatic Reignover, they do crazy. I think if Reignover even steps up slightly more than TL Reignover, I think he's still an insanely good jungler.
to be
I put
fair,
him,
anything is better than Oh My God, and
well,
they
I mean,
got to fourth place with Oh My God in playoffs.
yeah,
So
that's a good.
anything is possible.
Well, they got 3rd place, don't they?
Did they?
Dignitas got 4th. No, they,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Wait, did they? I don't know. I
Dignitas
can't
got
remember.
4th.
The thing I want to
But
see
still,
from
they got top four with
Yeah,
Oh My God.
and
I think
so
they could definitely do better, but
definitely.
then when I'm looking at my actual top four, I wouldn't necessarily say that with if you take like the average between Reignover on TL and IMT, I wouldn't say that
Yeah.
they would be better than any of my top four
Mm,
the
yeah, I
thing
guess.
that I want to see
in
is
my
Reignover.
eyes, essentially.
I want to see is if Reignover can do good without Humi in the top lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
want to
mean,
see if it's
definitely,
just like Cooney carrying him, honestly.
and I wouldn't say carrying him. I mean,
Well, yeah,
Reignover
but
literally
like
won. Reignover
definitely.
won MVP of the split. Like you can't lie. Reignover is
Yeah,
a
that
good.
was me fucking around a little bit, but
I know. Reignover is a good jungler. I think at TL he was just he was just garbage.
yeah, I would still give Rain over top five jungler, but like
Definitely.
I don't know,
And I
like
also
most
want to
most of
see
my like I would give CLG's all of CLG's players about an average like middle of the pack score generally.
Definitely. I don't think they have a necessarily. I don't think they have a single weak link. I think Darshan is obviously in that pack of 6 and crit. Like you can't say, oh, Darshan's a top of the pack top laner. Like you can't say any top laner is top of the pack because you're literally going, oh, he's one of the top 6 top laners.
Yeah,
Like
he's in the cluster.
I don't think we need to keep repeating. Top lane's crazy. But like I just feel like these parts together are just crazy. Like they're all individually a good player. And I mean,
Yeah,
who
I can see them winning NA
definitely.
really easily
I think
if
once you get up to like
if Rainover is doesn't or if Rainover does well, I can see them winning NA
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
the question for me is who's their shot caller? Is who he
yeah.
going to be able to finally step up and be the leading voice?
Mhm. I think
Yeah,
Hui
because when
is
you
a
look
big
at
question.
Team Liquid, a lot of their issue was that they didn't have a shot caller, and I think they picked up Rainover thinking he would do it for him, but that's not really his thing.
Yep.
So unless somebody's able to shot call on that team, there's still a question mark.
Yep.
Definitely going to upgrade though,
And
especially now.
Yeah.
I think my two biggest things, definitely, if Rainover can actually play like I know that he can,
Mhm.
and if the bot lane can actually do well
Yep.
compared to a lot of the other top bot lanes like Sven and Mithy and Sneaking and Smoothie and Double Lift and Ole.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess going on to C9, we kind of talked about it. I feel like a team with Sneaky and Jensen, you're not gonna miss playoffs. And Smoothie.
Just Yeah,
I feel like
Jensen, Sneaky Smoothie, and Svenskeren are definitely a really strong 4
I
players.
just feel like with not having one of those crazy top laners, it definitely is gonna be a hurt for them.
I feel like
Yeah.
even with an inexperienced top lane, you still have Sneaky and Jensen on your team.
Yeah, you still have the most consistent player in the history of
I
the
feel like
NALCS.
if Svenskeren is able to go back to SK form, they will become a monster.
Yeah,
Experienced top lane.
I mean, I think we all
They're gonna-
agree the top 5 teams, any of them could win an NALCS.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I
even
would give
Twinix
it to
said
6 because I
place.
gave Cloud9 6th place, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like Clutch, if all of the stars align, I could see Clutch making it to finals.
If,
That needs to be like,
if Bjergsen breaks his arm
if
and
Bjergsen
every other
doesn't
player
have,
falls asleep on
if
stage,
Bjergsen
I can
doesn't
see
have
Clutch Gaming winning.
fingers by the end of the split, I
If
could see,
Reginald subs in,
yeah, if
definitely.
Bjergsen gets like, has to get his colon removed, and like, they need a mid laner and they can't get one, and like a Blaze Olive, like, his hands both blow off or something, like they just fall off, and Reggie has
Like,
to sub in,
yeah.
I could see Clutch Gaming making finals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess let's go to 4th place. I mean, all of us have 4th place the same.
Yeah.
Total not biased, but.
Definitely no bias at all.
Alright, we ready?
2, 1.
1. The only group of people that will rate Echo Fox is high.
Yeah, pretty much. Inven Global at 9th.
I
Okay,
guess we
so
can
I'm
all.
gonna
I guess this is more just defending Echo Fox.
yeah from the inevitable
Flame.
arguments against it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that we have like inside source.
Well, it's
Kind
not
of.
really like
I wouldn't say
that
inside
big of
source.
a
I mean, we just
yeah.
all. If you just look at it at face value, Huni, arguably
Best top laner in the league.
arguably best popular in the league.
Yeah.
I put it either him or Someday.
But was someday in the World Finals this year, even if
What?
even if Huni
But
did get
did Someday have Faker
food.
on his team? That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's true.
But Someday,
But
I
to
think
that point, Faker and Huni did look
I will
like the
admit,
only good players on SKT.
yo, the two biggest questions. Obviously, everyone's gonna say with this team, Dardoch.
Yeah.
Will I think Dardoch's gonna be fine. Dardoch,
Yeah.
like people don't realize, like Reddit doesn't realize, Dardoch like built this team. Like if you're
And
anyone within the org will say it. Dardoch essentially he was like, hey, I want to play with Phoenix. Phoenix, I feel like, granted he could be questionable, not playing for a year, but I feel like back to his old form, he's a top 4 mid laner in NA.
Definitely. He was able to
if he
stand up
was
to Finn and all of that when he was playing on TL.
Yeah,
one of his years in meta.
yeah. But like, if you look at it, Dardoch wanted to play with Phoenix. Dardoch wanted to play with Adrian. Dardoch wanted to play with Huni. Adrian wanted to play with Altec. Because I think Adrian and Altec are both really good by themselves. But putting them together is disgusting.
Yeah.
And
And
then
I
like,
think that a lot of people overlook the fact that Dardoch was not on CLG for the last of it, and people are like, "Oh, he was toxic, so he got kicked off," right? When you look at it, CLG has never come out and said, "Oh, he was toxic, so he got kicked off."
yeah,
In fact, they've actually said, "Oh, it was a playstyle thing. We put him in as a sub. He didn't really want to play as a sub. That's kind of a dumb thing." Because we wanted to put in Omar God more because he would do what we wanted him to do more
yeah.
often.
It
And
was
I
just
think
a
that like
stylistic.
it was definitely like Dardoch wants to be aggressive, get his lanes ahead, and carry essentially, and that's what he can do with Huni.
Yeah.
Is he can just camp Huni,
People,
get him ahead,
people are forgetting
he wins.
the fact that he basically almost 1v9'd Immortals to a playoff spot.
And I think
Dardoch, yeah.
another, yeah, definitely. Like
And
he
people don't
was the
realize,
one person on IMT that was performing that split.
yeah, people have to realize Dardoch went
He's
to
passionate.
Dardoch is
He
a
really wants
passionate
to win.
player. Dardoch went to IMT to play with Hooney. Hooney
Yeah,
got offered by SKT. Obviously, they're gonna let him go to SKT. Like, it would make sense for them not. But you can't blame a guy that he joins a team. He goes, "Oh, I'm gonna play with Hooney. That's good." And then
and then he ends up having to
instead
play
of,
with two people that aren't even close to fluent in English and a rookie, and then Pobelty.
I'm
Like
pretty
that
sure
has to be so
Ollie's
tilting.
English was pretty good when he came in. I think
Well, it wasn't like
it was alright.
it's still not quite fluent.
Yeah,
It's better than Piglets, though.
definitely. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, Piglet's been in this league for almost 4 years now, and he still can't speak proper English. And I'm not
Yeah.
flaming him for being Korean. I'm just saying, like, he's
Here for like
hasn't.
almost 4 years, you
I don't
expect him
think
to
he's
be able to
tried.
speak
Yeah, I
English.
expect him to be able to like just talk. And like even Phoenix,
yeah.
like if you watch interviews, like I was watching one today. Yeah, granted he's kind of like he mumbles when he talks, but
He
like
tries without a
he
narrator,
tries. And
translator.
yeah, I mean people don't like. You always have to think about Hooney somehow just instantly spoke perfect English.
Yeah, Hooney
Most
has that
perfect.
dedication though.
Hooney just was dedicated to it. I mean, like you have to look at
I
it.
think I think he also was one of the players to learn English in Korea, if I recall.
He might have.
If no, actually, I think they came to Europe and Rainover translated for a lot of it
He
when
didn't
he
know.
learned.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he didn't know any English when he came to Europe, but I think it was the fact that he couldn't do anything by himself. Pretty much, he needed
Yeah,
Rainover. Granted, that's what gave him such a big friendship. Is just they pretty much had to stick together because Rainover would translate for him. But like, I think the idea that cause Hooney's aggressive, like he's a passionate, and he just wants to be himself and win. And so I feel like being super competitive, having the idea of, oh, I'm getting held back because I can't speak English, it's kind of rough. So he wanted to just get English so he could speak it and be his own player. But I mean,
and when you look at this entire roster, all you see is unproven talent essentially. Like every player
well,
on here has a reason
yeah.
to work for what they need to do. Everyone has the motivation,
Hmm.
which is a big reason why Dardoch has gone off in the past, is because people didn't show
Dedication.
that they actually cared about winning,
Dardoch
essentially.
joins rosters to go to Worlds. And I
Yeah.
think definitely this team could go to Worlds. Obviously,
I feel like
yes, you have to take it to face value. The idea of something goes wrong, Dardoch's out of there.
But I also think that
I
a
don't think that's gonna
big
happen.
a big help is that there's no relegation either.
Yeah.
So there's essentially, unless he gets kicked off the team by being an idiot, there's no way for him to actually have a fail state essentially where
Yeah.
like a lot of his issue has also been that he wanted to win because he dropped out of high school to do this, and
Yeah.
he would be fucked if he didn't have a team, you know?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I feel like Dardoch's just he's a different player than he was in 2016.
Yeah.
I feel like if this team is able to gel and mesh together and not let their personalities get inside, they could win this split.
Definitely. I mean,
You
I
have to
think
look at it, right? At least Loco Doku isn't the head coach of the team.
yeah. And I feel like
Oh boy.
not trying to be biased, but I mean, I would say Anera is a easy person to
Because
work with.
the thing is that when an arrow came in, like a whole new staff along with him.
Yeah.
Everybody was still trying to get used to each other.
Hmm.
And I know that he's been trying his best to try and fix what the team's been missing.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the first time he's been able to build his own roster. Like he came
This is
into a
first time that
team.
he's basically able to coach worry about something. Because before on Tainted Minds, he had to worry about
Need to worry
the
about.
conditions and all that.
Yeah.
Here, he finally gets a chance to prove himself as a coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like the talent of this roster,
Mm.
he'd be able to lead them into a playoff
Yeah.
if coached correctly. And if he's able to contain all the personalities.
Yeah. I mean,
Again, I see anything in my top 6 winning NALCS.
definitely.
Definitely.
I feel like Echo Fox is the most underrated roster of.
Well,
Like,
most of
probably
them have
ever.
them either missing playoffs or at like 10th place. So
Yeah. Pretty much
Or like
everyone has
7th or
them like
6th.
7th to 10th. Like, I just feel like
the only
this.
person I've seen actually say they makes playoff is Jet,
Yeah.
and that's like one person that I've actually seen do it.
I think definitely like. There's obviously the intangibles you have to put together. Like, all of the big personalities in the team. Hooney, Dardoch, I think Phoenix. I think Phoenix is kind
Yeah,
of a bigger personality, and then like Adrian is also a big personality. Which I mean, all
yeah.
type.
There's a chance that they explode, but I'd rate it pretty
I
low.
like
But personalities aside, they're definitely a playoff team.
people are acting like it's a 75% chance this team explodes and no one gets along together.
Well, a lot of people are acting like Dardoch is 2016 in the middle of summer split Dardoch.
Yeah.
So I
But to
mean,
be fair though, 2016 Liquid Summer, they kind of just threw Fabian.
Yeah, and I mean,
Had
I think
Piglet,
yeah,
and
I
then he
don't
went
think
to Fabi.
Dardoch's really ever had a chance to be with a consistent roster for an entire year.
I think uh risky call of this season. Dardoch stays with this team for the entirety of his contract.
I think he definitely will.
And I
He
feel
has
like,
2 years. Everybody on this
right,
team has 2 years, I think.
and I feel like his personality, Rick Fox, might be the one that can change it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's had to play with some pretty rough teammates,
Yeah, I mean, if you look
Plus,
at Rick Fox,
so he's had experience.
Rick Fox literally had to play in between the Shaq and Kobe argument. Like,
who else on any of his teams has been able to do that, right? Like
yeah,
maybe Zix, but even then, what is Zix? He's like a good coach.
yeah.
And he can
I mean,
like draft pretty well.
I don't think CLG was just the right place for Dardoch. Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
no.
in theory, you think, oh, they're positive plays. They can hold Dardoch in and make sure that he's a good player. But, like, you have to think about it. That's literally a team of, oh,
And
everything, we're all friendship and happiness. Like, it's just
and
not.
to think that basically was on a first place CLG team split,
Yeah,
like this Echo Fox team is in most ways a upgrade of that CLG of last year.
yeah,
So I feel like if he's able to do well on that team and almost carrying the Mortals roster all by himself,
mhm,
he'd push this team to fourth. If he doesn't let his attitude get,
yeah, definitely. And I feel like people are underrating the fact that Hooney just came from SKT. And he's
Yeah.
definitely, like, he just learned under K-Coma, played with Faker. He played with the best team in history. Like, he has things to bring back to the team and be like if something's going wrong, he's there to be like, yo guys. Like, if you watch Hooney now compared to like 2016 Hooney, 2015 Hooney,
he got more
like
serious and more mature.
he's way chiller. Like, he isn't the holo Hooney that's like crazy. Like, he's just,
Rip Holo.
yeah, he's just
If you saw him on SKT, he kind of
he
became way more mature.
he started wearing his glasses on stage, guys. He's a
Yeah.
man now. Like, I think people are underrating the idea of him bringing with him what he learned from
And
SKT.
also, a lot of people are kind of shitting on him for not winning World Finals. But
When
even then, he made World Finals.
when
Like, that's still only two
he
teams do that a year.
and people need to realize he played like kind of bad, but they also have to realize the bot lane wasn't doing much at all.
When you look at the entire roster,
The
the
only player,
entirety of Worlds, the two players that looked actually good were Faker and Hootie.
yeah,
And Faker was able to carry them to finals.
I mean, Faker
Sure,
is just
that's he's
Faker.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's
And I'm
the
not
And now
saying
he's
that Bang or Wolf or Peanut are bad players. I just don't think they showed up.
Oh.
And I think that Bang.
Peanut
I
definitely didn't
honestly
fit
think
with
that
the
Bang.
SKT style.
I mean,
Shall we move on to number 3?
yeah. I just want to say
Yeah.
one thing. I mean, we don't really have to talk about it. I think that their Echo Fox's bot lane is like a top 3 bot lane in NA, like at their
Yeah.
peak.
Had
Like
the
together,
potential
At their
to be
peak, definitely.
people have to realize like if you look at
At the
Alt,
least, they're top 5.
if you look at Altec's numbers, people are like, oh, he bounced around teams. He got kicked out of FlyQuest. He left NRG after a split because that team was just awful.
Yeah, that was
That was
the
the
worst.
worst. He was on a Gravity team that did really well. Like Altec's
Yeah.
never been a bad player. He's like one of the most underrated. Obviously, I like Altec, but like
Yeah.
he's one of the most underrated AD carries in NA.
Problem with Altec that people have with him is that they feel like he's not trying his best. He's not really reaching his full potential. That's
But I
what
mean,
ticks people off.
I think the problem is he's never
People want
really.
him to do really well.
Yeah, he's never been on a team though that's good enough to win NALCS. I feel like
Yeah, most of these players, barring Cooney, have never really. Actually, that's a lie because Team Liquid 2016 looked like they probably maybe could have,
yeah,
but none of these teams, for the most part, none of these players have been on
Yeah.
teams that have been enough to actually prove that they're worth picking up.
yeah. I'd say
Also
Other
forget
than
the
Tootie.
fact that people also forget the fact that team last summer they were 7th or 8th, and then when they brought Adrian and Altec in, they instantly
they made 4th place.
rose up in the
Yeah.
standings.
Yeah, like they're a good ball. All right, let's get on to 3. This is where it starts getting interesting.
Alright. So I'm making a little bit of an adjustment to mine, but
Whoa,
other than
whoa,
that,
whoa!
yeah, no, I'm going on the fly here.
The Fly Quest. Are
All
you
right,
bringing Fly
yeah.
Quest up to 3rd?
No,
All right,
0%.
all right. 1, 2, 3.
Alright,
That's there it is.
yeah.
Uh,
All right,
So I'm high rated
we.
because I definitely seeing all that content.
Let me just
Man.
brush over why I'm guessing we both put CLG 3rd. I mean, like, just look at this roster face value. Obviously, that's pretty much all we can do right
Yeah,
now.
definitely.
Like, Darshan's at his peak is the top 3 top laner, arguably the best top laner at his peak. Like, he's consistently a top 3, top 5 top laner
The
in
only
NA with an NA
have
top
the
lane.
only concern that I have with Darshan is if he can also thrive on non-split carry not split pushing champs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Concern about him because he can
Even
do really well on the Fiora to Jace and all this. I want to see him thrive on those two.
Yeah.
Also on the tanks.
even then, I think that Darshan is towards the bottom half of those 6 players that we had. I think that like he has carry champions, but even then, in at least Spring Split, he didn't even look that good on them. Towards
I also
Spring
feel
Split,
like
I just think that if everybody on this roster steps up, they can definitely be really good. It's just a lot of question marks for me.
Yeah, definitely.
for Darshan, the only problem is that sometimes he can also cost the game. Like I believe, I don't remember which team. I believe might have been Echo Fox where he ran into a 1v.
That
He
was
got caught
TSM.
out against TSM, and then the whole team had to try and save him. They got aced, I believe, and then they lost.
That was the Shine game, right? Yeah, I remember that perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I want to see him be more consistent and not get caught out and possibly cost his team a game.
Okay.
I feel like if he can do that,
everybody on
playing with
CLG, the question is consistency.
If you think about it, if
It's also
Darshan
the
is
same for 100 Thieves.
yeah, if Darshan's the person that you're sitting there going, if he needs to step up a little bit, you're at a good place.
Yeah.
If
And I
Darshan
also
stays,
feel like
Well, I mean,
that's the
I need to see Rainover perform without Huni.
Yeah.
You know,
and I
because
also want
I have not seen him perform well without Huni on his team. So
yeah.
I
Rainover
also want to
does.
see this who
oh,
he
yeah.
play more pop off for more champs than just Aurelion Sol.
Dude, the Aurelion
Well, he's
Sol
got that Vel'Koz, man.
his Aurelion Sol is the cleanest.
I'd say he has like 3 champions. And then he can play the meta ones pretty all okay.
Yeah.
I'd give him I'd give most of this team 5th place in my player power rankings, and I think that they could be a lot better than what their actual individual talent is, because that's a lot of CLG's like thing, is that all of their parts add up into one great team.
I
I
just think
just
that
don't.
my
I
biggest
just need
problem
to
is
see it
that
happen.
the champ pools expand and see them thrive for more champions
Yeah.
in group. I want to see Darshan thrive more on tanks. I want to see who he lets and thrive on other champs, not just the Vel'Koz and Sol. Because if you ban those, if you take those out of account, he's about an average mid laner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In my opinion, he seems like average. Once you take him off like picks and you make
but
him like
still, when you
play
look at
other meta teams,
when, but
he's
still,
kind
when
of
you
like
look at
floats
that,
in the
you
middle.
already took away 2 bans from your draft pick. You already took away A Soul and Vel'Koz. That's 2 out of 3 of your first bans taken, assuming that it's your first bans. Then if not, it's 2 out of 5. That's still a pretty good draw for random ass picks. Especially if you want to
I want
ban
to see
Zoe, which
if
you probably will, starting in Spring Split.
Yeah.
Just as a general rule, that's already 2 first round going to mid lane.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a pretty good spot.
I also want to see Biofrost, what he can do out of
Yeah.
TSM.
I think CLG's biggest question, besides Darshan, obviously consistency is just the problem in CLG probably. But like I think the ultimate question that could bring this team down is the bot lane. I mean,
Yeah.
you're playing. Obviously, everyone's been saying this. It's the product of Rush Hour splitting up. It's
Yeah.
it's Stixay and Biofrost who've both been in the league for like 2 years. They've both been heavily carried by
Well, I mean,
two
not
seasoned
really
veterans.
heavily,
Not heavily carried by,
because
but they've been
if you
activated by.
see if you see Sixay in his 2016, I think it was 2016 finals, just popping off on Tristana, and I'm pretty sure it's game 5.
Yeah,
Like
the
he
jump.
Yeah.
has that talent, but I'm not sure how much of it is
What's that? Oh,
2016 Stixay
Yeah.
and how much of it can
I want
actually
to
translate over to when he's laning with Biofrost.
see if he's able to still do well even without Afro move.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Afro move's been able to mentor him and shock all the whole team. I want to see if he's able to be that consistent and still do well. And yeah,
Alright, I think we just need to hear
see the
why
main
Arden.
shot caller of this team
Yeah.
and be the new Afro move of this team.
Alright, we gotta hear the 100 Thieves reasoning.
Okay. So right now, right, when you look at it, yeah, maybe Ryu and Medios, maybe they don't come in as motivated as they could be. But then what you do, you take out from the academy slots are Linsanity and Levi just sitting there waiting to be put in. This is memeing right here, but it could work. But also, just in general, I think that Medios and Ryu do have it together. If not, I definitely hope so I don't look like an idiot. But
Yeah.
they could definitely, I think, a Medios, a Medios and Ryu that have it together look like a really good jungle mid duo. And especially with their time together on P1, even though it was pretty short-lived, they have that connection. And Medio said he did want to play with Ryu a lot since after Phoenix won. Then you look at Aframu, see what he was able to do with Stixay. Then you look, Cody's son is kind of my biggest question for 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be able to even out pretty well. And then someday is someday.
Cody.
So
With them is I don't know how Cody's son's gonna do without Ole. That Immortals team, he was the weakest link on that team.
Yeah.
well now you could see Aframu has more of a guiding voice. He's more of a veteran than Ole is. And
One benefit is that Afro doesn't roam as much as Ole, I
Yeah.
guess, but watching the Immortals team, Cody's son really like met my expectations, but then he's kind of just, to me, it feels like he's kind of just there. It's like you don't really need him, and the rest of the team's doing all the work, really.
I mean, that's better than having like Laud. If you
True.
think about it,
Anything's better
Sure.
than having a lot.
like at least he can sit there and be an AD carry and do like middle of the pack things generally, even though ADC is also a pretty stacked role.
So, Keith McBreeze.
Oh, dude, Keith Booth is the ultimate ADC god, but
Yes.
I'd say, right, the Cody Sun is pretty alright. Like, a lot of people are like, after the Worlds, the whole thing, all of that shit, people kind of are too down on Cody Sun, I would say. Like,
In the second week, all of the Immortals kind of just
yeah,
fell.
all of NA kind of just fucking died
Yeah.
because it's week 2 of Worlds, except for Cloud9, pretty much. Because it was
They won
week
the
3
third
for
week,
them.
technically.
Yeah.
I want to see Cody's son, how he does without Ole.
Yeah, but I also want to see,
Immortals team.
like, I would say, right, Cody Sun and Aframu, I would give them the edge over Stixay and Biofrost personally, because I think that Stixay and
Because
Biofrost
both
might
of
have
them,
more mechanics, but I think that also the Aframu can unlock Cody Sun a lot better than either Stixay
Just saying.
or Biofrost can synergize.
because both of them, both bot lanes wouldn't have synergy yet. They're still both getting used to each other.
But I also think that Cody Sun will be a lot more comfortable playing with Aframu than he was playing with Ole, because Aframu won't leave the lane as much. And, you know, English is always a thing, but Ole is pretty, yeah.
Ole's really
Ole's,
good at English.
Ole's really good. He's decent at English.
And I mean, Pobelter's fluid in Korean.
Yeah, so
And
like
Impact
communication
is
isn't
pretty-
that much of an issue, but Aframu is just, he's fucking Aframu, you
Wait,
know?
what? Wait, what team are... Oh, gosh. I don't know why I thought we were talking about Liquid.
Nah. Alright, do you want to do the next
Yeah.
two teams? Because
I
they're
think-
pretty
I just want to
self-explanatory.
make sure if we in them are just consistent.
Do we have next two
Yeah.
the same?
I think so,
Alright,
with
go
my
ahead.
changes.
Good.
Okay, 3.
Let's go.
2, 1. Alright. I mean,
Okay, so when you look at the side lanes of Zen and Mithy and Haunter, pretty consistent. Sven and Mithy, I'd say, are top 3 bot lane in the league. Bjergsen,
Sven and
top 2
Sven and
mid,
Myth, you're like
mid
a
laner.
top 3 bot lane in the
Yeah.
West.
And then my biggest question, which puts them at second,
Yeah.
well, the first one is how well will they synergize, because they replaced 3 out of 5 of their players.
Definitely.
And not fucking Haunter.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a pretty big ego when you actually look at how he
problem
talks
is
in
that
general.
I think he has like
they're
a
going to
joking.
repeat
Yeah, I think a
the
lot. Like, it's joking, but I think a lot. Like, it's also serious. He's on TSM. There's no reason not to have that ego,
Yeah,
especially when a lot of people are calling him top 2 in the league.
I just feel like with this synergy problem, they might possibly end up a 16 spring split where they finish 6th, star-studded lineup.
Yeah.
Because of
And I
this
definitely
synergy.
think this is the closest split to them not making finals.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the two just pretty much everyone has is how do they synergize replacing 3/5 of their team, and
But also Mike Young.
the biggest question is just Mike Young.
Because I think that a lot of the Reddit NA fanboys have Mike Young. Oh, like, it started as the rookie of the split thing, 'cause he was the only rookie,
Whoa, dude,
and then he popped off at Rift Rivals,
what about
and
Omar
everyone thinks he's
God?
the best. Yeah, fuck
God,
off.
Dude, Omar God got robbed.
one rookie of the split.
What about Shady, dude?
Dude, Shady got robbed too.
Still don't get why P1 took Stunt out. He's doing so
That's
well
a
with
Yeah, I don't know.
Arrow.
that's a
It's
whole
fine.
different question.
That's a whole different thing.
Uh,
But yeah,
yeah, I mean, I guess
like, I don't think Mike Young is that good, but I think he could
No.
be
definitely.
It's
eventually.
overhyped because he had that good Rift Rival in like a good 3 weeks, but then at some point he just kind of fell to average.
Yeah.
But people still remember him for like his first 3 weeks and from Rift Rivals.
Okay, so we have the last team, because I think TSM is pretty much on lock of just like,
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everyone
yeah.
pretty much everyone agrees. Like, it's just Mike Young and Synergy, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
I guess we don't
Synergy.
really need to count down. I can do this for everyone. They, just all the liquids.
All of the liquids. Okay, so normally
Liquid
I would
everywhere.
not
So
I would not bet on a super team, but it's NA, so fuck it,
No,
right?
I think the
the
biggest
problem,
difference between betting on a super team and this super team is the idea that it's just immortals with two better players.
Yeah.
I
there's
mean,
also pre-existing set synergy with almost all the players.
yeah,
Everybody except for Impact, pretty much.
yeah.
And then Impact is like
Impact.
godlike in playoffs, at least.
Yeah.
And the
Like,
thing is
I
that
think my biggest thing is going to be Doublelift and Ole, because Doublelift usually likes, or usually has that support that's with him through laning phase into mid phase. Or
the thing is that Liquid's going to place first just because of the synergy inks. They took the best parts of Immortals.
Yeah. I mean, not saying Flame's
Synergized
bad.
so well. No, not saying that,
not
but
saying Flame is
I
bad,
mean,
but he's not.
It's just, I mean, is
3
Impact.
players that communicated so well.
Yeah.
And then you take 2015 CLG with a different core of 3.
Yeah.
Like, they could, I could see them as low as 5th, but I could also see them
I don't see them
first.
going like 4th.
Problem is that I want to see if Impact can stay consistent.
I think
Because during the regular season, he's like average, but then when it hits playoffs, that's when he really hits it off.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
could,
thing.
like, I can,
Consistently.
I have them at first place for a reason,
I think all of us.
but I think that it's very likely that they don't get first, and so one of the other 6 teams that I have does.
Mm,
So I mean,
yeah.
I feel like it's good because it's basically Immortals but with upgrades.
yeah,
And these upgrades,
Yeah.
at first they were so close to getting to winning the split.
Well, it was essentially what happened to SKT versus Samsung. Like,
Yeah.
wow, they're
yeah.
looking so good, and then they went against TSM and they got stomped. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, but
this team's definitely like the best.
because of the pre-existing synergy
Yeah.
that they
I think
already have the advantage.
the team. I think the reason. I mean, it's probably obvious. The reason that you just put them over TSM is just the idea of synergies there.
And I definitely think in summer they'll fall off significantly because everyone else will have time to catch up with that.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, every single team has at least replaced 2 players on their roster. They need
Echo
time
Fox
to get
replaced
rid of it.
everyone.
Yeah. And then all the new teams have new rosters, even if they do
Well, I
have
mean,
similar cores.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely just a TL is first place to the split in my opinion because they have the highest skill
Yeah.
cap. They have the highest skill with the biggest synergy. I think
I think
definitely
I think they have the
Summer.
highest floor of just like this is
Yeah.
the worst we'll play at, and
Disadvantage?
this is like 5th place
Summer,
at
I see them
worst.
being more of a like 2017 C9 team, where they're
Yeah.
like
Their
good.
biggest advantage is Oleg roaming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He puts them over the top. Having
If
that good
Ole,
roaming support
if Ole can
with
help out Po Belter, who I think is their worst player, not saying he's bad, but
Yeah.
definitely their worst.
Out of all of them.
Yeah, definitely just putting Po Belter there and having Ole help him is just gonna be tremendous
top,
help.
like right, the difference between spring split and summer split, Ole was able to roam around and really communicate with Pope alternate Smithy.
Yeah.
Huge leap to finals.
And what's fun about this Liquid roster though is that they can carry from literally any position.
Oh yeah.
Like whatever they draft for, they can pretty much carry.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright. I think
That's
that's
about
pretty
it.
much it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
Cool.
think there's definitely like some question marks within these power rankings. Not like necessarily where we place them. It's just like definitely there's a wide variety of teams that can shift
Yeah.
up and down.
Like I could see Cloud9, CLG, Echo Fox, 100 Thieves, TSM winning, even if like they are slimmer margins.
So,
I could also see very potentially any of my bottom 4 making playoffs,
oh yeah,
and
definitely.
I could see Clutch Gaming making top 4.
I
Like
could see any
What's
of
that?
the top. I could see any of the bottom 3 making playoffs. I
Things
think.
that I could see TSM potentially getting first thanks to Song.
Yeah,
oh,
definitely.
yeah, I could also see TSM getting as low as 5th because all of the other teams are just playing so much better. But
Yeah.
it's not like they like TSM and TL. I think are definitely the locked top 4 at worst.
TSM and TL are definitely like top 2.
They're the clear
Yeah.
beginning runner guys.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, every year
definitely.
there's gonna be like 1 or 2 teams that you go, yeah, this team is gonna be
Like
great.
last season it was TSM C9.
Yeah. Year before it was. I don't know.
I'm just saying I want to see one of the new teams in playoffs. Honestly,
Yeah.
specifically 100 Thieves because
I think they're a big question mark, but I could see it
I
happening.
think a lot of people initially when they saw the roster were like big on it, and now they're sleeping on it too much,
The
in my
big,
opinion.
because the reason why people are sleeping on it is because when you see Medios and and you see Levi down in
Yeah.
10, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Alright.
it's like, it kind of turns you off a bit,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I could see that, but yeah, I think that's it
Yeah.
for now.
I mean,
If they got like maybe Febivin or Power of People, people would have been hyping this roster even more.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, imagine 100 Thieves with Froggen. Okay, but yeah,
Alright, yeah, let's just end it with that. Just
Yeah.
100 Thieves with Froggen. Alright,
just
well,
that thought.
thank you all for watching. Make sure
Yeah.
to
Watching.
wait. Make sure to smash that like button.
Oh.
Alright,
No, please no.
Alright, yeah.
alright. Goodbye,
Cool.
guys.
Alright.